behind the camera working, the computer working the magic. And Jill is also an amazing chef and is a great resource for our programming. And Teresa, who is the owner of Kitchen Collage, an amazing entrepreneur, serves on the board of directors for Above and Beyond Cancer and a very dear friend. Love her to pieces. Teresa and I have been in some tents all over the world. I think we've been in a tent in Peru and Africa. Yeah, so we've just jazzing all around. Arkansas. We know so many secrets about each other. We just have to take a note.
It's when I get old because I can't remember anything. I'm gonna say things.
Right. So first what I'd like to do is I'd like our Zoom people to introduce themselves. I'm going to talk a little bit about Lori. Lori is our registered dietitian. And Lori Graff, go ahead and kind of share a little bit and, a couple sentences about who you are, where you're calling in from, and kind of maybe your belief set for dietetics.
Well, welcome everybody. Like Mary said, my name is Lori Graff, and I really help people understand not only how to eat, but what to eat, and dig into why it's important that we're absorbing all these nutrients and getting the variety for a really healthy microbiome to live the healthiest lives we can.
Thanks, Lori. And then another good friend, Vicki Watt. Vicki, where are you calling in from today? You get the award for farthest away.
Salt Lake City.
And Vicki has been a longtime supporter of Above and Beyond Cancer. She traveled to Tibet with one of our crews, and she also serves on our board of directors. And she's just an amazing person. She hosted our team that trekked out in Utah last month. So, Vicki, we're glad you're here.
Thank you. And I'm making faces because I cut myself on my butternut squash, and now I'm trying to peel the orange, and the citrus is hurting.
Oh, so now you've got another color there. You've got red and orange. That's nice. Yeah, there you go. Touche. So, Jill, if we can bring the camera back to Linda. Yeah. Linda, introduce yourself, where you're from, and why you're here. Yeah, like where you're born or where you live now. Either one option. Nice.
So, but I've been quite a while. Generations of my family passed through the city over the years. So,
well, welcome back to Cooking Class, Linda. We know you've attended some of those before and some other ABC programming, and it's so good to see your face here. This lovely lady right here.
Hello, I'm Darcy Munford, and I have been participating in some programs at Above and Beyond Cancer for a couple of years now, but this is the first time I've actually attended an in-person cooking class. I'm so happy to be here. And I know a few of these other gals too for various activities, but more specifically traveled with Mary, Val, Pam, and was on the Colorado trip a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I got to be roommates with them.
Yeah, we were roomies.
Yeah.
And we didn't have to do it in a tent.
I'm Valerie Armstrong. Yeah, I've been in Des Moines for 30 years. Although I wouldn't consider myself an Iowan. I've been here for 30 years. Nebraska.
You are one now, Miss Nebraska girl.
Yep, love ABC and am addicted to the cooking classes. So.
Did you hear that? Quote that one, Val Armstrong, addicted to the cooking classes.
That's me.
we'll work with that.
I had to laugh when I saw the title was veggies. I'm like, isn't it always veggies?
Which veggies?
What do you think, Lori? Is it always veggies?
Oh,
I love it. I
Throw fish in there once in a while.
chicken and fish and meat in there.
absolutely love it. Oh, I guess we did have fish tacos. Yes, we did.
Okay, this lovely lady up next.
I am Pam Kroger, and I was born in Northwest Iowa. Lived in Earlham for 18 years, and I just moved to West Des Moines this year, so that's been great. Closer. And what else? I don't participate in all kinds of ABC things. I just pulled out my recipe for holiday slogs that we made some time ago. And I made that for our September Thanksgiving Day.
Nice. Well done.
For those who tried it. Yeah.
Very
very
good.
Traditional.
Well, that's the key, right?
It
It's
is.
not just learning the recipe, but trying it again or doing it again. So good job out of you.
I'm Julie Coster, and I was born in Hope City, or actually Des Moines. I live in Riverside, so I'm in Riverside, and then done a couple of ABCs and something. And so I just started with ABC programming. I never did the classes.
You're gonna love it. So I'm glad you're here, Julie. And you brought your sister-in-law.
Kathy Foster, live in Minnesota as well, right next to me, right next to her.
So you got your road trip together tonight.
No, we didn't.
Oh, darn.
So I couldn't get work, so I had to come all the way from Bike Preston.
Yeah,
So
wow.
I work in Johnston, so, yeah. And this is the first event that I've come to with Julie, so I'm excited. I do have to confess I don't cook, so. Sorry.
Yes, yes. Teresa's gonna show how easy it is. And the lovely ladies,
I suck at cooking.
Kathy, we're glad you're here. And we know that you were signed up for the Paddle and Pose event that we
Yes,
had
oh
to
my
cancel
gosh.
because of the weather. So there's gonna be more fun stuff. You'll look out for it for some
Awesome.
other fun outdoor stuff this winter.
Cool.
Kelly Shaw, and I grew up in Adel, lived in Des Moines. Went on the Tibet trip. I'm here because it's my favorite kitchen store ever. I like to.
She's a good kid.
and I love coming to cooking classes. It's just fun. It's fun to get to know everybody, and we have such a great group. So I enjoy it.
And Kelly did a pot class with her peeps.
Oh, I did with my work peeps. Yeah, that was awesome.
So fun.
Yeah.
Is that the tamale one?
The tamale one. It was great. Yeah.
Yummy,
So
yummy.
it was a really good time.
Okay. Pam reminded me, I miraculously as well have repeated some recipes that we've learned in this class. And just last weekend, I did the fish tacos. And everyone was there, was like, oh, those are so good. And I'm like, I thought it'd be on Cancer Booty. So without further ado, we're going to turn it over to our master and favorite chef, Teresa.
We're gonna get started. I always like to quote Lori in that we're eating our rainbow. So tonight we have bright orange and we have bright purple and just some great things coming up. Okay, we're gonna get going on the butternut squash so we can get it in the oven. So I'm gonna we'll talk about how I did that, but we're gonna get started with our cashew butter instead of our cream. So a gratin is really began as grated potatoes. So you can use any vegetable that you'd like, but we just thought this would be really fun. It's a fall vegetable. I like potatoes, but it's just kind of a riff on that. And then instead of cream and the dairy that some people like and some people don't, we're doing cashew butter, which a lot of people are doing these days. So I have doubled the recipe. So
So just if someone wanted to be traditional and do regular potatoes with this, they could. And
You
that would be
could.
fine.
absolutely. Just so you know, you would normally, we're gonna have a little more of these, we're raw cashews. But they've been soaking. So it's 1.5 cups times 2. So we're gonna get that in there. Really soft, but I may have to either not salt or there's a lot of salt going on in cashews. So I would imagine maybe price chopper. Okay, cashews, and we measured our broth, so it's 1.5 cups times 2. And vegetable broth is great, but another thing you could sub for, and I did this, if any of you have gardens, you have tomatoes and you roast them off. A roasted tomato leaves lots of tomato water, and you can actually pull that off and put it in a jar or a bag and freeze that. That is great vegetable broth for later. It happens to be tomato broth, but it's super wonderful for that reason. Okay, nutritional yeast, and I measured, but I thought I would send this around. So if there's any questions, what's going on with nutritional yeast? Why do we use this? This will be a question for Lori, probably. Nutritional yeast, so 1/4 cup times 2.
So the first time I heard of nutritional yeast was in an Above and Beyond Cancer class. I loved it so much. I bought some and I sprinkle it on my popcorn all the time. And then I feel guiltless about eating popcorn.
So, and then the next thing is hemp seeds, right? So hemp seeds, we're gonna do 1/2 cup of that. These may be sprouted. I'm not certain. So we've got that going on. And make sure my measurements. So I'm gonna wait on the salt. And the rosemary, I think, let's see. Salt, pepper, garlic with the oil. I gotta do that. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you, here's my rosemary. It's pretty easy to burn garlic. It's really easy to burn garlic. There's no going back. So I don't want to go back.
I know what, yeah, I know.
I don't want to have to slice it again, but I used a mandolin for these, but there are little mandolins for garlic. And garlic breaks down. It has kind of a different flavor depending on if you mash it, or if you grate it, or if you slice it. So it's sliced very thin. And yeah, you can cover those till it's ready for sandwich if you want. Oh, yeah, got a lot of yellow going on. All right, so 1.5 teaspoons. So great olive oil. This pan's gonna get hot pretty quickly. This pan's gonna get hot quickly.
Why did you call out Kelly right now?
Because Kelly's learning about a new pan. And it's this one. They get really hot. They have titanium in the interior and they go in the dishwasher. It is pretty in the world of cookware.
I don't put my.
Yeah, you don't have to, but in the world of cookware, it's pretty revolutionary. All right, so we're gonna wait for just a little ripple here.
So Teresa, this is the first time I've seen kind of garlic cut this way versus minced. And does that make a difference on flavor or anything?
It will. And I probably should have Googled it for the real. I just know you will get a different flavor off of it. And it's also kind of, I think, not quite as hard to burn. Like if you minced or you grate, it's so small, you're gonna burn it like really quickly. And garlic that's burnt becomes bitter.
So when you're cooking garlic, how do you know when you need to stop cooking it?
Probably.
Before the fire alarm goes off, obviously. What are the cues before the fire alarm
I
goes
would
off?
say under a minute. You don't really get it going for much more than, I mean, I've got this on a low heat. Everybody usually cooks a little rocket hot, I think. But we're gonna do this golden, but we're not gonna do anything else until I have golden garlic.
I want to see the little baby mandolin.
I've never seen garlic
I need
cut
another
like that. Where's your
right.
baby mandolin?
It's in the dishwasher, and I'll get it out for you in just a flash here once we do this, because if I turn around and do that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
we're
Right,
gonna
right, then
let
you're
it
gonna
go.
burn garlic.
So,
I think I've ever not burnt the garlic.
So I will have to say, we're not mincing it, but Teresa has one of the, or probably the best garlic mincer in the state of Iowa in this store.
So Teresa, you're just getting some garlic ready for what? I'm still trying to, in my very small food processor, process these. So is that, you're gonna put the butternut squash in there?
No squash yet.
no.
But
This
is
is
it
gonna go in the cashew butter in the food processor, Vic,
okay.
So that's what you have your.
right? And be very careful.
So we're looking for a golden brown.
And I turned, the pan is really hot, so I turned it off for just a minute. And it's been like cooking on low. But it's breaking down the sugars. And that's what starts to brown this a little bit.
So Teresa, I know you've mentioned this in other classes, but talk a little bit about the quality of olive oils. Because we novice cookers like me didn't understand that until taking cooking
I'm kind of
classes.
a self-proclaimed snob when it comes to olive oil. And, you don't have to cook with expensive olive oil in the pan necessarily, but you do really want to have a nice olive oil to dress your greens. And oftentimes you'll think, if you taste it, it's very peppery in your throat. And that's actually a really good thing. The polyphenols are really good for our body. And again, Lori can probably address what that means. Scientific than I can. But I think we're golden. I think we're golden, crispy. Okay.
Teresa, would you go to olive oil, where they should be from?
Well, Lori has.
Is there any other?
Our
Is there any other? There's no other. I could just say.
California. I was thinking California.
There's no other page on the first.
Has opinions about some of the Greek. But I am not sure, but this is Turkish, the family that produces this. It's had work, so I like this. There's some gals out of California. And it's so, I think it's a little bit of follow the producer, right? Next some down, just like what we eat, greens, or just kind of follow the producer. So
We can let Lori, can you kind of tell us, in your experience, quality places to find olive oil?
You can almost anywhere now, because you can get olive oil out of California or organic in the grocery stores. But if you're going to the oil section of the grocery store and picking up the generic olive oil that's saying it's from Greece, or you don't know where it's from, you are actually just buying soybean oil with a little bit of olive oil added. And then if you heat olive oil very much, it damages the health benefits. When they talk about the Mediterranean diet, in the true Mediterranean diet, they almost never cooked with their olive oil. They added it to their foods cold.
Jill, were you
There,
able to
that's better.
hear better what she
Um,
said? Can you summarize it?
No, I didn't really hear it that well. Lori, our air conditioner just went off. Can you kind of rephrase that?
Sure, I'm not sure exactly which part, but when you're buying olive oil, you're really looking for it to be organic, or if it's from someplace in the United States, especially you'll see it from California, then you are getting actual olive oil. If it's imported and it's not organic and it's just in a generic bottle, it is 90% soybean oil. And then when you cook with olive oil, it's not a high heat oil. Olive oil is really meant to be added in the very end or on a low to moderate heat.
So California and organic.
Yes,
Not imported.
I think Georgia has some good.
And
Georgia might be, yeah. I know there was another state. But typically in the United States, when we say something, when we market a product as a product, it typically is. Other countries, that's not quite the case.
Okay, thanks, Lori.
Regulations.
All right, we're gonna get loud here. Teresa's gonna run our mixer.
Not too loud, but yeah.
Oh, that's quieter than mine.
I think I've got it. This must thicken with something, because it's like water right now. but I'll- It is salt. So we're not gonna add salt. So I just want to make sure we did cashews, we did vegetable broth, we did nutritional yeast, hemp seed. We'll leave this, we put in garlic. And now this is our cream. So it must be going to thicken.
Teresa, how long did you soak the cashews? Like, what's the minimum time you need to soak them?
Like, I'm not certain, Mary, if there's a minimum, maximum, or, but I just was prepping today. So I'm thinking this needs to be buttery. I'm concerned about how liquidy this is. But we can drain some of that off too. So it makes about 4 cups of cream.
Wow.
So double batch, right? Yep. Okay, so now we've oiled with our olive oil, our cast iron pan. So I brought traditional pan is oval. You can put it in whatever pan you like, but it is, I like it better. Oops, I like it better in cast iron. So we're gonna put the starches in our acorn squash. Hopefully, it's gonna soak this up. The butternut squash. Yeah. Yep.
Did you pour all of it in there or part of it, Teresa?
It's gonna be a layer. We're gonna layer it there. And the only reason I put my butternut squash in some water is I didn't want it to turn brown or any other color. So we are gonna layer this up and get it going. You know, the recipe says it should brush on, and that's why I'm a little concerned that it's liquidy, but we're gonna get the full-fledged taste. I think this would be a great lasagna.
Mm-hmm. So what would you do differently for the lasagna? Using
Well,
red
it's
sauce?
tomato sauce, right? And I don't know what else we could layer with.
Put some meat in it.
Yeah, probably some turkey, maybe, and some red roasted peppers.
Some spinach.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I
spinach.
was saying, again, this is Lori says we should eat our rainbow, and there is more squash here than probably any of us can eat. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. Just because again, I think this should be butterier. So lots of this. We're gonna strain it a little bit, Vicki. How did yours turn out, Vicki? In the food processor?
Good, but my food processor is like really tiny, so it's a little bit of a challenge, but it's very buttery.
Yeah, see, mine didn't, and that's why I think there's too much liquid, but it'll be fine. When I've done,
Yeah, it's almost like
cashew butter on salads, it's hot water that goes in. So perhaps I should heat it to raw.
So we're adventurers here in our cooking class. We never in advance try really a recipe. And so we're all first timers along with you, which is part of the fun of being a kitchen explorer, right? It's like, it's not the end of the world. if
It'll
we
be,
try it.
it'll
But
be
I will
yummy.
have to say, we pretty much hit home runs with our, not trying our recipes in advance. So
Yeah.
worked out well.
We'll see if that works.
Right.
It's always a
It
first
smells
time.
yummy.
Yes,
I'm
always
gonna
a
tell you
first
that
time.
it'll taste just fine. It'll taste just fine, but these are just wonderful. I mean, I'm not about raw squash, but.
So Teresa, you know, I love butternut squash. I cook it a lot. My parents grow it, so I get all kinds of butternut
Yummy.
squash every fall. But I do think it's hard to prepare raw. So Jill, you have a trick to the trade when dealing with butternut squash. What do you recommend when you go to cut into a squash and peel a squash?
Right, because that can be really frustrating, right? So I always microwave mine for like 2 minutes, and then it'll peel so much easier, and you can also cut into it so much easier. So
Microwave it whole.
yeah, I don't even put like holes in it or anything. I just throw it in the microwave. I mean, we're talking like a minute to 2 minutes.
And it makes a world of difference. And of course, having a good knife, right, Teresa?
Oh, yeah,
Sharpen your knife up.
sharpen it,
I just
get it
like-
going.
And
But I will say I peeled with just a Y peeler, and that covers the, I peeled it with the Y peeler and then cut it in half with a big knife and in lengthwise, right? Not crosswise, not horizontally, and just sliced it on the mandolin. But that's how you get so pretty.
it is super pretty. So this would be a great, you know, Thanksgiving side, but also just in general, good fall, healthy cooking.
Mhm.
Right, and that rosemary is a nice touch. And I think you can, we'll finish with cashews, but you can finish with walnuts and rosemary and stuff. So, let's see how this goes.
So let me get a picture of that before we say.
All right, before and after. Let's hope it was nice. All right,
It's pretty hard to see.
yes. Okay, that'll feed a family.
Does anybody have any questions on what Teresa's done so far or prepping that dish?
Mentioned making the water warm, which water?
Well, so there's broth, there's broth here, and when, I've made dressings for salads, and you, instead of a cream dressing, you put cashew dressing. So you would have your cashews spinning around, and then you're pouring hot broth or hot water in the processor, and it emulsifies, and then it's just creamy all over the top. So, are you searching for? Oh, yes, a short little rubber.
Oh, that's sweet.
So that's your mandolin. Did you
Right.
use that for the garlic also?
This is what I use for the garlic only.
Oh, okay.
So it fits right in there. Push that, right there. And then on the other side is if you want to grate it.
Is this when you did the butternut squash?
No.
That's a big one. And
Do you like put the whole thing of garlic or one clove at a time?
I put 2 in. I put whatever will fit. So if you have a olive or garlic, that's, you know, you could just put it in 1, right? So, you're looking, oh, here. This is just an older handheld one. But you can use whatever you have.
So that would be good for a lot of vegetables,
Oh,
because you did one time we did a beet hummus and you had beet chips. I think you used the mandolin for
Right,
that.
we did, that's when we were in Arkansas, I think, we did a wrap or something.
Yeah.
And all kinds of just, rutabagas and turnips
Potatoes.
and potatoes, and just whatever
Sweet
you want
potatoes,
raw.
yeah.
Oh, the watermelon radish is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
Right, so, yeah, you can just make your own chips, and then I was thinking, because this might be further ahead, you use sweet potatoes, and you slice them, and then maybe you bake them or fry them and make nachos.
She says that because we may have a sweet potato nacho recipe coming down the pipe. There's your teaser.
We're gonna have a conversation about that, so look out for that.
Is it gonna be called veggies?
Just know there will be vegetables. This is not a processed food class. Note to self.
Thank goodness.
Okay, so while that is, what is that, 35 minutes, I think, timer, 35. Okay, we'll get going on that. All right, now we're gonna do our salad. And I kind of prepped all the dressing ingredients I have. But this is a supremed orange. It's not asking you to do a supremed orange, but I'm gonna show you kind of how to do it. Kind of. I just need that. So. Thank you. So I am a saver of all pressed lemons and lemons. And I will show you today, I think I put in here. Oh, yeah. Okay, we're bakers around here and there's always lemon, lime, orange zest, right? So we zest our fruit usually before we do anything else with it. We use orange zest in simple syrups or drinks or, oh, that's alcohol.
It's okay.
Mocktails.
Yes, it's okay. We're fine with that.
And
Everything in moderation.
That's right.
And baked goods. So, I don't know. This is, since you think this is a great time for Lori to.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, let's do it.
Oh, yeah, see ya.
So yeah, Lori, if there's something that you can share to us why eating a rainbow is important, and if there's any, of course, let's highlight the squash and the beets perhaps, and anything else you feel is significant about these two recipes. And then after you kind of share, we'll let people do some Q&A.
Yeah, sure. Well, eating the rainbow is important because every different color contains a different nutrient, a different antioxidant. And instead of, really concentrating, boy, did I get vitamin A, did I get vitamin C, did I get my polyphenols, did I get my antioxidants, what did I get? If we're always eating the rainbow, we're always covering our bases. And it looks pretty on the plate. So it's kind of fun that way. And then the butternut squash is going to give you lots of beta carotene, which we need the beta carotene to convert over to vitamin A if we have a nice healthy microbiome for a real strong immune system. And then with this particular dish, we're using a cashew cream. So if you are dairy intolerant, it still has the creaminess to it, but the nutritional yeast will then give it a cheesy like flavor, and it will give it the B12 that would be missing with the lack of protein. So that's why those are combined like they are, plus the hemp. The hemp seed is going to boost the protein content as well.
So hemp seed has a lot of protein.
Yes. Yes, it's the seed.
And nutritional yeast has protein as well, is that what you said?
It has some protein, but the other huge benefit of the nutritional yeast is it does have some B12 in it. And if you're not consuming animal-based meats, it's very, very difficult to get B12, and nutritional yeast is one of the ways that you can boost your B12.
So when you say microbiome, what's a layperson's term of what does that mean?
That means healthy bacteria. And we're just, everything we're talking about, you know, your GI tract being your second brain. We're talking about how it digests and breaks down food so you don't have gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, brain fog, so that you can sleep at night. So it's kind of the trunk of your system, the trunk of your health. But the way to have the healthiest gut bacteria is to eat a really, really large variety of foods.
So variety of foods is going to help our stomach health. It can help our brain. It can help clarity. It can just help promote a lot of things with digestion is what you're saying. And
Right.
If I remember correctly, Lori, did you say a goal is 50 different foods in a week? Is that right?
That's the goal. You're correct.
Okay, and that also includes your spices like ginger and garlic and turmeric and all of cilantro is included in that list of 50.
Correct. Yes. But if you take like the average American diet, right? If they go to McDonald's, they get a hamburger with white bun and fries, 0 spices and herbs. So,
So I kind of took the Lori Graff challenge a few months or however long ago when she first shared that. And I, at the beginning of the week, started to list out, you know, where is my variety? And I did get to 50, but thankfully for spices.
yeah, yeah. But spices are,
But it is a kind of a fun goal to shoot for, you know, getting that diversity. Does anyone have any questions for Lori about anything that she shared tonight?
Lori, I am going to ask you the question just from the garlic. And I can always Google this too, but garlic breaks down differently depending on how it's grated, how it's sliced, or if it's minced. Do you know anything about how that breaks down differently?
I don't.
Okay.
From a nutrition standpoint, it would all be the same, but I know that's true with an onion as well. So I think it has to do with how the cell walls are broken down and how much when you cook it, you know, how much of it's going to release those sugars. I think that's what the taste differences are going to come.
Tasted, the garlic is very sweet. So it's sliced and then the olive oil and it's sweet. So much like roasted garlic, you know, when you cook that, it is sweet as well, but it has a very caramely flavor because of the roast. So I'm gonna look into it a little further. Thank you.
So Lori, kind of to recap as well, like when we're eating, we're obviously trying to highlight local and fresh. And when we can't do that, the second best is frozen, correct? Over cans.
Correct. Yeah. But kind of piggybacking on that garlic story too with herbs, if you tear your herbs, you're going to get more flavor than if you cut them or with a knife or a sharp scissors, because it's a real clean cut, and then the juices from the herbs and seasoning don't come out. So if you have like basil plants, you'd want to actually take the leaves and tear them up versus taking a knife and chopping them up if you're really wanting flavor.
Or muddle them in your car.
Yeah, muddle. Yeah, anything that's just not a real shortcut.
Thank you, Lori. We really appreciate your time and your advice.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Great.
Thank you.
All right, T, what's next?
All right, so back to supreming the orange. So I could have gotten a little closer, just saying. So basically, you now have peeled your orange with your knife. And so you've gotten rid of your pith, because the pith is the bitter part. All that white stuff is the bitter part. So there's still bitter part because of the way that orange is shaped. And then, in between. So the grapefruit season happens in January. Grapefruit and salads is so yummy, right? So you want to do this. So this is a supreme orange. It's a supreme. So I'm just going to put it in the pan. And depending on kind of how you feel about it, yes, there's still a lot of juice that's going to come off of this. So you could, like some people will suck on the mango pit while they're cooking. I suppose you could give this to somebody and let them suck on an orange, or try to get a little more juice out, because there is quite a bit here. But you can see it's a very fine detail, but if you go somewhere, you can kind of page through where that is. It's pretty.
Teresa, now I didn't pay attention when I went to buy the oranges other than get medium size. Is there one orange you prefer that is easier to supreme over the other, or is it all?
No, I wouldn't. I suppose if I was an orange producer, I'd know the answer to that question. But in Iowa, you're just looking for really good fruit, right? And so, just as a kind of a cue, we'll have winter coming up. If you can get good fruit in the winter, which is in Iowa, you can get future farmers, or maybe the grapefruit's good in January. Wherever you can get it, I zest my fruit, and then oftentimes then I just juice it and freeze it. So you always have fresh lemon, fresh orange, or fresh grapefruit juice that was in season. Because much like tomatoes, the flavor is always better. I mean, you can get it, but like Lori says, you can buy frozen food. I mean, that's great for your smoothies because they flash freeze it. But if you can find great fruit during the winter, it's a little bit like canning. People can their pears and their apples now during the fall, because that's when we have the best fruit. But that way you can make, you have fresh juice in the morning, and it really does have the best color when it's the freshest. And it goes back to Lori's rainbow, that you want to eat colorful fruits and vegetables. But other than this is very beautiful, this is still edible. So not this, but that. But you'll see, that is meticulous. And I'm not normally meticulous.
Right.
Yeah. If I was at home, I'd eat more. I don't eat it.
But you're also saying that, typically you would have zested that orange first and saved the zest.
I save the zest in the freezer because in any time you want to make bright flavored, you want to brighten foods. Sometimes you'll have a soup and you think, oh, what does that need? What does that need? Maybe it's a little starchy, and some people say add vinegar. But if you add some lemon zest or lime zest or orange zest, it just kind of brightens it too. You think, how much am I supposed to use? Well, just, like herbs, put a handful. So that counts as one thing. Laura counts as one thing. So throw that in your soup. But
and I feel like we've done a lot of recipes with zest, like you said, across the board, stir fries, soups. We haven't really done a whole lot of baking in our cooking classes, so we've done a lot of zest that's non-baking zest. So
right. So I just think it's again, all we're trying to do is get our nutrients, and if you can get nutrients from your zest, what are you throwing the fruit away for? So, all right. And I did peel all the beets just because I roasted them early, but does everybody know when you roast beets in foil, you can wash them off if you'd like, but you roast them right in foil, maybe a couple layers of foil because you don't want them leaking in your oven. And then when they come out, this one's still got a little peel on it, and you just let them sit for a few minutes. They'll steam the peels, and I do use gloves when I'm peeling, and the reason I do that is beet has such great color. It stains your hands and all of that, but let's use this knife that I use for the oranges. So we're just gonna slice these babies up.
That's where it's all part.
How to peel beets.
Roasting beets first.
Everybody's always kind of got an opinion for childhood beets and then adult beets. And the reason I say that is I grew up with pickled beets, and I would say I was not a fan. As a child, you're asked to help in the garden. I mean, it's such a chore, right? And then the whole house stinks. Vinegar and pickled beets. But you realize that they were never roasting the beets. They were always pickling them. So I do like roasted beets. And again, back to that flavor and that rainbow, there are 2 or 3 colors of beets. I mean, Mary said she couldn't find them all, but I also roast, my mother roasts beets and freezes them. And I use them in smoothies at the Healthy Living Center in the winter. And it's great color. And again, you're hiding your food and with some frozen strawberries or something like that. And the color is beautiful. So,
And so many great nutrients. Anything I remember learning from Lori is that beets are really good for our liver, right, Lori? That's when I learned to love beets. I had to counter my liver. I had to make it happy somehow.
Yes.
Oven like that, do you have to peel them right away when they're hot or warm, or could you?
I think just because I was busy, Val, I waited about a half an hour. But yeah, there is a window of opportunity.
Because I didn't get to it once, and so I just put them in the fridge and in the foil, and then when I got them out, I still had to peel them.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but
I was like you, Teresa. I grew up on a farm, pickled beets all the time, and I hated them. I didn't like, I liked most things, but beets I did not like. And when I did a one-on-one with Lori, and she's like, my liver doesn't like me. And she's like, you need to eat beets. And I'm like, no. And now I love them. Like now I'm the person who orders the beet salad all the time at the restaurant because roasted beets are really good. And I feel like we've done a lot of recipes here in our cooking classes that have beets in them because of all the nutrient value. And it's been really exciting to see other people who, like me, grew up not liking beets and then realizing, hey, those are pretty good. So if any of you need to turn the time, maybe tonight will be it.
And I did say I washed and saved the beet greens, and Lori can talk a little bit about what beet greens, but beet greens are wonderful on top of maybe your burger. I really like them that way. So, I mean, they're so pretty with nice veiny.
You wouldn't just add them to your salad greens?
Yeah, we're going to tonight. But they're so pretty. I mean, they have a nice veiny. So we'll tear those up and add them to our salad.
Lori, is there anything you want to say about beet greens and beets?
Yes, I do. The beet greens are a little bit on the bitter side.
Yeah.
And so bitter foods are what help you produce stomach acid. And as we age, we tend to lose stomach acid. So eating bitter foods becomes really, really helpful for our digestion. It's also an excellent source of magnesium because it's a leafy green. You can throw it into anything like your salad, You could throw it into your soups at the very end. I'm always creative anymore with pesto. It's not just basil. If I have anything green, I throw a little bit of that in there. And then beets, really helpful to help have a nice thin liver bile. And as we age, our liver bile gets thicker and thicker and thicker. That's it harder for us to digest our fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. And it also makes it much harder for us to lose weight as we get older. So if we can keep our liver bile nice and thin, that's one of the secrets.
What are the other bitter greens besides beets?
Dandelion, arugula. Mhm.
Yeah, and it's great. You can hide them in smoothies. My kids hide arugula in their morning smoothie because it's peppery.
Yeah, and you don't have to eat a lot too. So you know, if you just have a little bit and you mix it in with your salad. But we in the United States, we've just really gotten away from bitter foods, and that's one of the secrets to helping you keep a nice stomach acid so that you can digest the food. So even just having a little bit of it right before you eat, just even a, you know, just a little piece of that beet green will help you digest your food so much better.
Thanks, Lori.
Yeah.
Lisa, I know you, before in prior classes, you talked about massaging kale and it makes it less bitter. Are beet greens the same?
Boy, I don't know.
Because you were over there like tearing and whatnot, so.
Bruising them. I don't know that it is, but we'll find out.
I don't think it's going to be because the beet green is aged a little bit longer than your kale would.
Thanks, Lori.
It's a little bit thicker, tougher.
It's so pretty. The purple vein in it is so pretty. So there we go.
You're so vain.
So purple vein. Okay. So we've got our perfect mix greens here. Do a little spin on these.
This is smelling really good, by the way.
Yeah. I think it'll taste fine. And just the texture won't be maybe as like creamy as cream would be, but I think. Yeah,
Sacrifices of giving up dairy. Going dairy free.
it's and there we go.
Has anybody cooked the cashew thing before? Did you buy it or did you make it your own?
Make it ourselves. My daughter does like a recipe with it that is on it, so. She did it. No, we just like to do different things. She has a book called, it's a vegetarian cooking book. And so we just try new recipes and it was one that she had used in life and so she continues to make it. Nice.
Never been tempted to replace cream. Why?
I mean, it was just, but it tastes really good. I mean, it wasn't like, well, we need to not have dairy. It was just like, well, that sounds like a good recipe. We just made it and we liked it.
I do have one, three daughters. So it's good.
And I use a lot of in nuts and seeds in my cooking. And
good.
so I keep a lot of that stuff on. So it makes sense to, you know, I keep it in the refrigerator. So I have a lot of it.
Okay, so while we're working on this, we're getting close to our.
We need to do the dressing.
Yeah. So I'm not sure how we want to prep or serve Mary, but so greens, we're going to serve on a bed of greens, and I think we need to toss, but we've got dressing ready to go here. So again, much like Lori said, your olive oil selection is important, and in something you're not heating up and cooking, it's even more important. I do have some olive oil, and when we pass around your food, you can pass the oil, you can put a little bit maybe just on the side of your plate and decide what you want to do. You want to just taste it outright or use your fingers or whatever. But, all right, so we've got all of our, and this is double too. So, need to use my notes.
So you may notice the original recipe does not have greens, but we added that. Again, getting more colors of the rainbow in, the orange, the purple, the green, all of that. So if you don't like as bitter, you know, of course you can use all spinach, which I feel is a sweeter, leafier green. But we do have a spring mix that has spinach and other lettuces in it. So again, more variety.
I'm doing this, just completely screw this up. White balsamic, lemon juice, fresh. I have some fabulous honey, and I'm going to tell a little story about it. And Above and Beyond Cancer is going to benefit. This is just our regular clover honey that we had in the kitchen, but I have a friend who has a buckets full of honey. She lives out in Dallas Center, and I'm telling you, buckets. And she was wondering, you know, how she was going to get rid of it all. And I said, well, here's what I think. So she bottled it. We're selling it, and every penny that it sells for goes to Above and Beyond.
Aww. And it's
So,
in your store?
It's in the store.
Right now?
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
So we have 1 pound jars and then refills. So there's 16 or 28. And if we were to put her costs in, it would be much more expensive. So it is awesome sauce honey, Dallas Center. You cannot call honey organic very easily in Iowa because the pollinators fly all over it. So not on her farm, but it's delicious. So if you use honey for anything, is honey good for us, Lori?
Please say yes, please say yes, please say yes.
For almost everybody, yes. The only people that I would say no for is if you do not have a healthy bacteria, meaning you have a bunch of bad bacteria, sometimes honey can cause you some more gas and bloating. But otherwise it is.
Okay, good answer.
So I think it needs a little salt and pepper to taste, but I'm gonna allow, we are gonna just sprinkle a little fleur de sel because it's our favorite salt here on top of your greens, and we'll pass the pepper mill around if you think you need it.
And also salt helps you produce stomach acid too. So I'm a huge proponent of using salt at every meal.
Does that also work for martinis?
Salting the rim.
On the edge of your glass.
It's so good.
I bought this salt from Teresa. It is the best. It's another one of the best things I bought from this store.
How do you want to do the salad, Mary? We have all the components. We can toss. I can put beets, you know, whatever you'd like.
Yeah,
You want to
let's-
put the beets on top?
Yeah, let's
and
layer
then,
the beets on and put a couple oranges and
Okay.
cheese on top.
okay.
DIY.
Oh, no, we're very professional here, Val.
What kind of salt is that?
Very, very.
I know, I
professional.
feel kind of.
We don't want purple fingers from you.
Much
All right,
juicy.
so let's do some beets, right? And you want to do there and
there. Hostess with the hostess.
And then for dressing, they're putting it on themselves.
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll just pass it around. Oh, you're gonna, we got a lot of beets, so your liver is gonna be great tonight.
And if you don't regularly eat beets and then you eat a lot of beets, because the color is so very potent, it can make your urine and stool quite red.
Yes, don't be shocked.
Yeah, so don't be shocked.
No, don't drive to the emergency room.
That's right. I have people call me in panic sometimes.
Exactly, exactly. So pretty. We've got rainbow plates.
Gorgeous. It is.
Now, you wouldn't necessarily have to serve on a bed of greens. We just thought that we could.
Gotta get our leafy greens in every day, right, Lori?
Every day.
Oh, so we got a lot of these greens on this one. Yeah.
Lindsay gets
So we just need to do the dress. Oh,
Okay, what's our mint going? Is it on top of this?
Oh.
Forget our mint? Not our
Everybody see the
salad?
recipe there where the mint
quarter cup
goes?
chopped fresh.
All right,
So we'll walk around with some.
It says garnish with edible flowers.
We got some, yeah.
We can pass them around. Let's do that.
because it will, we'll put a spoon in there.
Okay.
It will make a difference in your salad. It'll be just.
Yeah. So we're gonna put a spoon in the mint, and we're gonna pass it around, and you guys can add, how much do you, is there a rule of thumb of how much you want to add?
Oh, I think just a nice pinch, because mint does make a difference in everything. The British use it a lot.
So the next is the chef's. Teresa, this is Jill.
Okay, here you, there you go. You go.
Aw.
There we go.
So we can put that
Mint's right here. There you go. Did you slap it?
Okay, so I'll let you pass the mint around, and then when it goes this way, now, I'm sorry, when the mint comes back, you are seeing.
Did you get dressing,
pass
Joe?
the mint towards them. Yes.
Did we put salt on everybody's salad?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay, well, go ahead.
Look at the salt.
There we go.
Mint and salt are all good things in life.
There's salt over there.
Okay.
Salt, also.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got about ladies at the table here. Yeah, Darcy.
Thank goodness where you're not sticking a piece of food in your mouth. Did you get mint yet?
All right, haven't heard from Vic. How we doing, Vicki?
Yeah, how's it going, Vicki, in Salt Lake City?
Salt yet?
Throw some on the mint on here.
Sure. Did you guys get salt? I think it's coming that way along with the mint.
That's good.
I would agree.
When I made those potatoes, that was the first one I was.
It's like all this kind of stuff.
So what do you guys think? It's good.
Delicious. Very delicious.
Okay.
The mint helps make the beets more tolerable.
Oh my God.
Ask somebody about who is a non-beet lover. Okay.
So the mint came from my garden, FYI. easy to grow. Spreads like
Invasive.
wildfire,
Yes. Careful where you put it.
right?
Put it in a container.
It does grow like a weed.
Thanks, Miss Ma'am.
Yes.
That's all right.
So I had I haven't been to Django for a while. I had their beet salad yesterday. with salmon. Oh my God.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Beet salad with that.
Salmon.
Oh, sure.
It was amazing. So I'm actually pretty excited about these.
Wow.
They're on a
Save it right
twofer
there.
for beets.
I love them.
Ooh, that mint in there is amazing.
But it is.
I could eat beets.
I
Again,
didn't
it's-
expect that.
when you talk about the herbs, it's just, it's a brightener. You should put mint on more things. Mint and steamed peas are really, really good. What'd you say?
Steamed peas.
Peas, like fresh peas.
I would never think that would go good.
But would you add steamed peas?
Well, you can do a pea soup too, but peas will brighten the top of, organelle.
Beet burger.
Uh,
Who makes that?
Is it, no,
You'll be
what
a
am I,
child.
what soup am I thinking of? Phil? Is that right? Beef organelle, right? Peas at the end, right?
That's, it sounds,
And paella.
well, yeah, we put it on paella.
Paella. Let's see what our squashy squash is gonna be.
Stuff with peas wrap because I can buy it. Are they starch? Are beets
It
starchy?
smells really good.
Yeah. My dad used to always grow them. My daughter loved them as a little girl. He grew peas just for her so she could eat them. We don't have them much now that he's not around. Sometimes I buy the snow peas and put them like in wraps or just whatever in stir fries.
Vicky, how
things
did
like
yours
that.
turn out? Did she freeze?
We can't hear her, but we can see her.
Sit. I can't tell if she's talking to us or not.
She's interviewing a client.
Oh.
I think she's somebody there.
She's gotta go from this thing. Okay, there is your picture there before.
That's
my
gorgeous.
gosh.
Wow.
Holy cannolis.
And she has a degree in food staging too. She even has the orange oval.
That is absolutely gorgeous. Did you guys see this before it gets dished into?
I love the orange. That's perfect for
Presentations, everything.
Yeah.
Right, we eat with our eyes first. I can't pick it up, but Lori, can you see it? It's rocket hot, so I'm not gonna.
Very nice. Yay.
So.
That looks like a magazine photo.
I think that's a song.
This tastes good and it just feels healthy.
So you said a little soup, but here you go, man. You wanna take a bit?
So, you said it, in the original recipe, it did not have the greens. You added that? Oh, that's nice.
It was like without it, it wasn't, I don't know. I mean, sure, but a lot more calorically dense without the greens and not as fresh.
Right. And why not use the mustard greens?
Yeah.
Did you like the mustard greens?
Give me the beets.
It really
Yeah.
is a pretty
It's kinda
plate,
nice.
Lori. So,
Yeah, we're doing it.
Nice.
yeah, really pretty. Yeah.
Pansy.
Marigolds.
Time of year we do it.
Nasturtiums.
Sometimes they have them in the herb at the grocery store, packaged like the other herbs. So, yeah,
It
sometimes.
just depends on the time of year what you have in your
Okay.
garden. I'm not big on doing that, but
Mhm.
I hadn't thought about marigolds. So I grow those every year with my tomatoes.
Mhm.
I never thought about putting those on there. I wonder if they would be bitter, if that would be another like bitter element. Probably just what it is, like
On the
marigolds. I would
flowers-
think, I would think marigolds. and, like,
I would think those would be better.
That's what I'm thinking, like, I would think that that's part of the reason why they keep the bugs away from your tomatoes and stuff. But I've never tasted them. You
I'm
know?
not either, but just the smell of them
Yeah,
is better,
that's what I'm
so
thinking.
I would think they would be very bitter.
I love bitter. I'm like a Oreo is my favorite thing. I can't eat, I eat Oreos, but I can't eat a lot of
I don't think I like bitter things, but now I say that I do like the root.
peppery. It's so good. I like grape. I love grapefruit, which is bitter. And I love, you know, well, I like it in a drink too, but I mean, I like grapefruit. In fact, that's one of the things with my medication. I have it's kind of hard, so maybe they change my medicine. I'll be grapefruit again.
So does it interact with your medicine? Is that what they?
Yeah, there's something in the enzymes that I think amp up the effect in a derogatory manner.
Yeah. It's too bad.
Yeah, but otherwise, because I'm a grapefruit lover. And then I have been like the last year not able to have it.
Some yumminess, some comfort.
It smells good. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Yeah. What do you think? You like beans?
Was it temperature hot? Yeah. Let it cool a little bit.
Yeah. You have it.
Oh, it's just I think that I don't grow butternut squash. I don't have a big enough garden, but I think this would be, like, this is a good time of year to get them.
Oh, my gosh, on the other side.
Put some on Jillian and your plate, because I put some on mine for the picture.
Oh, okay. How is it?
Good. Excellent. Great flavor.
Starchy.
Great flavor. You do get the nuttiness of the cashews. Not overly salty. It's fine. It's good, not too salty. Some people might prefer more, but I'm not a high salt.
Well, what Teresa wondered is because I bought cashews that had already been roasted and not raw ones, so she's wondering if that's what made the difference on the texture of
I
it.
bet it is. I don't know. That's a good question for somebody that's a scientist, right? Yeah, I buy like the jar of the raw ones at Costco. And I just keep them in my
Roasted and salted.
refrigerator.
Cashew.
They can be used for so much. And they last a long time if you do it. If you keep them in.
It's hotter than I expected.
It's very,
I'm not
very comforting.
a salty snacker.
Right.
So I don't like chips or something like that. I use it, but I use it in recipes or like we did wraps today. And I just really put the peas out and sprinkle those on top of everything. So it's like, it's something like
It
that.
almost seems like
Add
something
a little or I
that
have
would be
like
unhealthy to eat.
I
Because
eat
it's so
berries, I'll
dense.
sprinkle a little bit of like walnuts.
That,
You know, I just,
yeah.
I'm not kind of just a
It's
dash here, dash there kind of person, just as a diet.
Spicy.
I do too. I never cook with that.
I do cook with them. Yeah, I cook with them sometimes, but not,
I always put a
not
nut
a
or
frequent
a
basis.
you know.
Yeah, that'd be lasagna.
I always put a nut or a
That
seed
could
on
be
it.
your,
Right.
Mhm.
grass
I think it's like a,
yeah.
Slice it.
yeah, I have almonds and
If you're out.
potatoes. with
Like if you
flaxseed.
have to serve meat with your,
Yeah, sunflower seeds, I have some pecans in there, I don't use those, it's not more of a baking thing, that I like them, but
This
this is
is-
more of a baking, they're kind of like it's so rich and so fatty, it's not part of something what I want to.
Vicky, how
Part
did
of a
yours turn
daily thing.
out?
It's a kind of a special treat kind of thing, like.
oh, she's,
Okay, are you guys eating?
Yeah, how did yours turn out?
I want you guys to show you how pretty our beet salad is.
oh my gosh. Wait, hold on.
Wow.
Do it again.
Juices.
Put it on your laptop. I did that once.
Vicky, show it again. There you go. Can you guys see it?
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see it? I got edible flowers, and we didn't cut the oranges very pretty, so we figured out how to make it better.
Yeah, I need a picture of that. Well done. So any comments? What do you guys think? We're squished.
This could be really good layered with like sweet potatoes, squash, butternut squash.
I
You
think
know what I mean?
sage would be great in.
I think you're right. Would be great with
So Teresa, they said you could throw some other veggies in there. You could add sage. Talk about adding some sausage. So if you wanted to have, if you had someone in your house that was wanting some more protein in there, some meat to convince them to eat it, there you go.
Ooh, that actually could be really good on top of this.
Invited her.
Man, I could eat that like all the time.
That's really good.
The doctor's office and Sid just.
And you don't even know you're eating dog rotten, right?
Oh, God.
You could make use your mic.
What'd you do?
Down the road.
No.
If you tell us a deep dark secret, we'll all hear it.
Can you mute her?
Oh, shoot. Oh, I'm not on mute. We are talking. Whoopsie.
Good thing you didn't start bitching about the recipes.
She's laughing now.
Good job, Vicky. We love you.
I didn't introduce Jill. Everyone, this is my friend Jill.
Hi, friend.
Hello.
Well, while people are enjoying their meal, a couple of announcements here for Above and Beyond Cancer. October 10th, we have our Elevate Festival. This is our 3rd annual Elevate Festival. It is a really fun outdoor event that happens in Waterworks Park Sunday morning, starting out at 10 a.m. There's a 5K that you can walk or jog or run or sit out, whatever you want to do. But of course, we don't recommend that. Get out and walk with a friend. And then after the 5K, then Good Vibes leads a really beautiful yoga. This year, we're adding a prayer flag opportunity for people to decorate. And there's going to be some prayer flags that are going to be hung as there's kind of, the story about that. So it'll be a really inspiring, moving program right before yoga happens. And then Ben Good Vibes will lead us in yoga and a short time after that, a meditation. And we encourage people to make it a community picnic. So you're welcome to bring anything you'd like and hang out at the blanket, your blanket after you participate in that. Our next cooking class is live and ready for registration. It is Monday, October 11th. And again, options here, like before, there will be limited seating, and we've had one person already who have registered for that in person. So if you want to make sure you're in person, you want to register for that pretty quickly, and then obviously virtual as well.
And what is that one?
The theme is fall cooking, and we have right now one of the recipes selected, not the other one, but one of the recipes is a stuffed butternut squash, and it looks absolutely beautiful and delicious. So a roasted butter, not butternut, excuse me, acorn squash, an acorn squash.
Ooh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I was grown up with butter, brown sugar.
Right, exactly. So we're defying how we were grown up. How we were grown up. How we were
Not
grown up.
butter and brown sugar. It's Jill's wild rice.
Like,
Oh yeah, it's so good. Cashew cream. And that's not that hard to do. If you soak it, all you have to do is put it in the mixer.
So like with the Vitamix.
Yeah. Would you say, Teresa, Vitamix would work? Yeah, I use my vitamins for that everything. So thank you guys for coming. I encourage you to think about 1 or 2 nuggets that you've learned tonight and be really mindful about how you can apply that. So it's, this is great. It's great community. It's great learning. And our hope is that you can take this home and use what you learn from these classes to feel more confident and adventurous in the kitchen, and also things that you can do to continue to ramp up your own nutrition with yummy cooking. I think sometimes we have this feeling that eating healthy means eating bland, and it doesn't. There's a lot of great flavors in healthy cooking and eating, and you don't have to do it alone. So, get the family involved, get friends involved. It doesn't have to be a one-person show, right? And that's also what makes it a great thing to do. So, thanks again for being here. Teresa, do you want people to look around, or is it too late to do that?
No, I've got 15 minutes before I need to
Okay, do
exit.
that.
So
Yeah, so if there's anything you really want to purchase before you leave, and of course, if you don't have time to do that tonight, come back and visit Kitchen Collage. Teresa's a great resource. All kinds of things here that will ramp up your kitchen needs.
we appreciate you.
Cheers for the beet lovers, the new beet lovers.
Wow.
Okay, I'm gonna just, bye Vic.
Bye all.
Bye Vicky, we love you.
Bye. Love you too.
Okay, so I'm afraid if I end that, I'm not gonna have it saved.
I sliced myself.
You know, that works really good if you're chipping. Excuse me. My first.
Also make, we just cut out the squash.
Those of you who are on the table, if you